All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I hope you're having an amazing week so far. We've had so many different things going on. I haven't been able to connect as much with the community as I'd like, but one of the things that I have been thinking about, and it's been on my mind a little bit, I wanted to kind of talk with you about today is resilience. The idea of having more resilience in your life. And the thing is resilience is often spoken of as a valuable trait, but what really is it, right? Resilience, it's this ability to withstand or recover quickly from difficult situations and conditions. Now, this could be physical, like bouncing back from an injury, or mental, like coping with stress and adversity. But everyone has some degree of resilience, and it's something that you can build up over time. That's why I wanted to talk about it. Resilience is one of those most important qualities that you could use in cultivating your life to be the best version that you want it to be. And so I wrote a blog article just recently. You can go to the dailymastermind.com website and read it. But I want to cover some of those things with you today because I think it's something that can help you. I think it's something that you will get a lot of value out of. At least I hope so. So let's talk about keys to developing resilience. You know, you can have a support system in place, whether that's family or friends, a therapist or a mentor, but that's a key to being able to create and develop more resilience. Also, it's important to practice self-care. That way you can find healthy ways to cope with your stress and anxiety. You know, while there's no such thing as being totally immune to, hardships, building up resilience can help when you have ways to take care of yourself. And then you've got, like I said, a support system in place. And also, most effective is to face challenges head on. You know, when you tackle a situation or a difficult task rather than avoiding it, you're going to be much better at becoming and building and developing resilience. So there's a number of ways to build resilience, such as developing a positive outlook or maintaining social support networks or even finding meaning, trying to find the meaning in difficult experiences. But by developing this resilience, we can overcome any challenge that's thrown at us in life. And when you know you can do that, the game changes. You really take over the game. So there's actually a lot of benefits that I feel like you'll get from being resilient. For one thing, resilient people are usually more adaptable. They can roll with the punches and manage changes better, and they never, it's not that they don't experience hardships, but they're better at handling them. And resilient people tend to be more successful in life because they don't give up easily, and they're able to rebound and have a setback be a setup for a comeback, right? You've heard me say that before. And resilient people tend to be happier and just have healthier lives and relationships. So this is because they know how to take stressful situations in stride and not let it get the best of them. And trust me, we all go through cycles, right? You can't just always be resilient, but the more you develop it, the better you're going to be at it. And so let's talk about maybe overcoming setbacks with resilience, because life is full of setbacks and challenges, and whether it's a minor mishap or a major catastrophe, we all have to face difficulties at some point. However, it's not the setback itself that determines our success or failure, but rather how we respond to it. And resilient people are able to pick themselves up after a setback and continue on with their lives, while people that are less resilient find themselves being overwhelmed with the adversity. So overcoming setbacks is just much easier when you develop this muscle of resilience. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that dealing with failure and using it as a learning opportunity is a way to develop that resilience. Because, look, failure is a part of life. It's not always easy to deal with, right? But the sting of disappointment can be tough to overcome. But when you add resilience, you're able to move past these past failures or these current failures. Resilience allows you to push through it. So dealing with failures in a constructive way can help you to build resilience and develop more of a growth mindset. But if you look at it as a learning opportunity when you're dealing with failures or things in your life, you're not just learning to cope with life, but you're developing resilience. So, it's so important that you take care of yourself when you're developing resilience, though. Let's talk about that self-care, because one of the most important ways that you can develop resilience is self-care. So when you take care of yourself, you're able to handle stress and challenges. When you don't take care of yourself, that's when you get overwhelmed. Many of us know, if you get tired, or you're not eating right, or you're not spending enough time, recuperating, or recovering is a better word, I guess I'd say, then you're not going to be able to develop or deal with things. Even if you have that ability, when you're run down, it's going to be harder. So I really recommend that you push this idea of self-care, especially even more when you're dealing with situations. Also, sharing your story of resilience with others can help you to develop your resilience, because each of us has a story. You've heard this phrase, let your mess become your message, but each of us has a story of resilience, a time when we faced challenge and we came out of it the other side stronger, right? And these stories have the power to inspire and motivate other people when we share our story. I can think of so many times in my life where I had to struggle with things, whether it was divorce or business failure or whatever it is. And I always looked at it as a really difficult situation. But it wasn't until, the last, 5 or 10 years that I realized that those difficult situations can be inspiring and motivating to other people. And that's why I started the Daily Mastermind, podcast. So another thing that you want to do is you want to celebrate your success no matter how small. That adds to this muscle of developing resilience, because it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day life and forget how to celebrate the successes. You might be hard on yourself and think, kind of like me, that unless you get this big win, it's not worth celebrating. But you've got to learn to take a step back and recognize how far you've come. Many of you have heard me talk about, do you measure the gap between where you are going or the gain of where you've come from that best-selling book that I really love. But I think you've got to step back and recognize how far you've come. Because when you do that, when you reflect on what you've achieved, you're giving yourself a bit of a pat on the back, but it's building that muscle of resilience. And I'm telling you right now, there's a direct connection between resilience and happiness, because it's often said that happiness is a choice. And while that's true, and I believe that's one of the prosperity pillars, the reality is that happiness is also linked to other factors, like our environment and our situation and things that are going on. But one of the most important factors in happiness is our resilience. Our ability to recover from setbacks and bounce backs in tough times, because people who are resilient tend to be more optimistic, because you think about the fact that you're going to get through it. You can deal with stress and adversity. Also, research has shown that resilient people are more likely to be happy and satisfied with their life. And satisfaction comes when you have this habit and character trait of resilience. So how do you incorporate resilience into your everyday life? Well, it's always been challenging just to be in your day-to-day, because life is full of difficulties. You might get ill, lose a job, get a flat tire, you have bills to pay. But in recent years, it seems like the challenges have been even worse and harder and more frequent with the pandemic and all the things happening. So more and more people are struggling with this anxiety and depression and feelings of hopelessness, but there is hope. There is ways to create resilience which lead to your happiness and results and prosperity. So let me give you a few tips for incorporating this idea of resilience into your everyday life, and then I'll leave you with that, because I know we're short on time. First and foremost, take care of yourself. This means get enough sleep, eat healthy foods, drink a lot of water. Remember, your brain, your body, it's mostly water, so you've got to hydrate. And when you're taking care of yourself, you'll be able to handle what comes your way, because you'll have energy. You'll have rest and relaxation. So take care of yourself. Second, build good relationships. Surround yourself with positive people and people that will support you and help you to weather the difficult times, because when you're having a struggle, you can lean on other people, and that is a huge, huge thing. So build relationships. Don't do the opposite. What most people do when they are stressed and anxious and depressed, they separate themselves. They isolate themselves. You'll do the opposite, right? Build relationships. And lastly, finally, don't hesitate to seek professional help if you're struggling. A therapist can help you cope, whatever it takes. Don't be afraid to seek outside help if you need it. But practicing meditation and mindfulness, physical activity. These are all part of like taking care of yourself as well, but those are also suggestions I have. Your daily rituals will directly lead you into developing this habit and this character trait, I believe, of resilience. So by incorporating resilience, you'll not only be better equipped to handle all the situations you have in your life, but you're definitely going to create more happiness and satisfaction, and you're going to live your best life. You're going to live your best life. So that's why I wanted to talk to you today about resilience. I do encourage you to jump into the dailymastermind.com website, check out the blog article. Let me know what I can do. What are you dealing with? You're spending time with me if you're listening to this episode. Let me know what you're dealing with. If you don't ask and you don't reach out, you can't get the help. And I would love to be able to help you. So that's my message for today. Find a way to really identify and create more resilience in your life. And my name is George Wright III. I'm your host, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a great day.